Welcome in joining us to reveal the facts about the man who says he is for the blacks as we approach the next term of mayoral leadership in Chicago. He speaks as if the black community has forgotten his mandate to bring illegals into the community and disregard citizens' needs. He refers to Chicago non-citizens as the people. We will expose who he really is and what he stands for. So let's get started.
Outside of a 2016, Cubs World Series ring, I'm not kissing a ring, okay? All right, so. I actually think, all right, let's break news, okay? I'm going to make my comms director get upset here. The President of the United States of America has an open invitation to the 5th floor of the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago.
Let's review when the 5th floor was off limits when he was exposed for the gift closet.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says the public is free to see what's in his gift closet. There's a catch, though.
The mayor's move comes after an investigation showed he wasn't complying with city ethics rules in reporting gifts that he received. Political reporter Paris has the latest on this. Paris?
Yeah, Sylvia, the mayor and his administration are following other administrations' protocols going back to Eugene Sawyer in the 80s, Mayor Johnson says, when it comes to keeping a log of the gifts received and keeping the gifts in a special gift closet at City Hall. Now, you might recall an Inspector General report found that investigators had to make repeated attempts to get access to this list of gifts. They had to go undercover and literally knock on the door of the mayor's office before they finally got a log. But it was incomplete and it did not say where the majority of the gifts came from. Some of those gifts, as you remember, Gucci cufflinks, shoes, very nice bags from designers like Prada and Givenchy. The IG was told the gifts are kept in a closet where one can make an appointment to see it, but she was not impressed by that, saying investigators should have access all the time. Mayor says he doesn't agree.
Watch and listen how he responds to his secret closet without windows and public access.
All right, I'm going to do my best to try to break this down as simplistically as I possibly can. You just can't come to the 5th floor demanding to roam the 5th floor. The FBI can't do that. Just can't do that. You come talk to me. And here's, in all sincerity, Al Raby invited Dr. King to come to Chicago. He was one of many. And just not too far, just around the corner here, Dr. King was in the office with Mayor Richard J. Daley. And I think that it's pretty well documented of their relationship and how they felt about one another. I am open and willing to talk to anyone. There's a long history of, and I'm going to just be bold here for a second, there's a long history of black political leaders talking to people who may not see us as first class.
Not all are skilled to speak for a political class, especially with wrong motives.
In fact, Frederick Douglass spoke to individuals that only counted him 2/3 worth of a human being. Whether it's the White House, whether it's the 5th floor.
Which is in no comparison.
I have a responsibility to working people and advocating on behalf of working people.
Notice how he will never say citizens.
Trying to force your will to break the spirit of working people in order to have a conversation, that's terrorism.
Brandon Johnson forced the illegal immigrants upon the black communities with an executive order and no assimilation. Terrorism? Then he wants to appeal to the black communities with all the things he has done for the black population, like stating, for 4 years, the amount of money that was spent was 1% of the overall city's budget. We have spent 20 times that amount on our people. This is according to his statement in the Tribe interview.
We're not going to negotiate with terrorists. We're going to negotiate on behalf of working people in this city. And that's what American people want us to do. There's a reason why he's losing support. Now, he doesn't care.
Brandon Johnson's rating is 6.6%, which is far lower than the current president. And many feel he doesn't care, but continues to portray his stance that he supports the black community.
He doesn't. But I have a responsibility to make sure that I'm advocating for the people who want our schools to be well-funded.
People.
That our public health is well-funded. We had a police officer who was a mother and a wife who was walking around and doing this job,
Mother and wife doing his job.
clearly in pain. Clearly in pain. This president refuses to see our humanity. There are families who are desperately looking for good paying jobs and are worried about whether or not their ends are going to meet.
Translation, illegal families.
And his response to this economy is to give tax breaks and benefits to the ultra rich while the rest of us are struggling.
His current salary range is about $221,052 annually. Who is us?
Now, I'm happy to talk to him, but I'm going to tell him the truth. You got to show up for working people in this city, in this country.
People.
And not for the oligarchs and the ultra rich. That's what has destroyed our economy, is that we have the ultra rich who continue to receive tax breaks while the rest of us have to pay for their failures.
While he wants citizens to pay high taxes for illegals.
He should get here as soon as possible, because the people of Chicago in this country need him to actually show up for working people.
And just so your words are not misconstrued somehow, you said you're talking about terrorism. You're not calling the president a terrorist?
No, what I'm saying is trying to hold people hostage and manipulating them to succumb to his will and then hold up our tax dollars. That is how terrorists behave.
He confirmed that is what he said.
And look, he's not going to hold the people of Chicago ransom.
This is proof Brandon is not for the blacks, but for the people known as illegal aliens. He has accepted the task to stand with illegals than to work with federal to release funding for many citizens in this county. Brandon has shown who he really serves. Meanwhile, at the African Americans Mayors Association, Brandon portrays that he supports the blacks, but shows his fight is against blacks and for illegals, aka the people.
The current occupant of the White House hates that this room even exists. The iniquitous formation of this government is a humbling reminder of how delicate our democracy truly is. Black leadership in particular has been under attack by the federal government and Trump's war on public accommodations, shutting down programs for housing, defunding education, public health, and environmental projections, as well as Department of Justice.
At a conference of black mayors in D.C., Mayor Brandon Johnson laid it out plain. He's taking on President Trump, who's threatening to cut federal funds to sanctuary cities like Chicago. That money, more than $3 billion, supports housing, schools, and public health. Johnson says Chicago isn't backing down, and he pointed to progress the city's already made without help from Washington.
We are building a better, stronger, safer Chicago. As a result of all of these investments, violent crime has gone down every single year since I've been in office, over 23% this year alone.
The way crime statistics are listed, they say reported. That means how crime is reported or not reported. Remember, the current mayor selects the current superintendent of police, and words are used carefully and can be misleading.
Johnson's popularity. But there's polling showing you with historically low numbers. How worried are you that this polling might be right?
Well, listen, here's what the people of Chicago want in their mayor. They want someone who's going to fight for them, and that's what we've done.
To push his Invest in People agenda, the mayor says he's looking to Springfield to boost funding for Chicago. But there are signs City Hall and the Pritzker administration are not on the same page. When was the last time you had a one-on-one with Governor Pritzker?
Wow. Look, our teams talk on a regular basis. We speak periodically.
Today, Governor Pritzker said Johnson has called him maybe 5 times, and he said this about the mayor's team.
They don't reach out very often, and it seems like they don't have good relationships in Springfield.
A house-divided contradiction.
In part because they don't do the outreach that's necessary.
Legislation to regulate hemp sales stalled in Springfield yesterday. The measure, which would license, tax, and regulate products such as Delta 8, was supported by Pritzker and opposed by Johnson.
This is about making sure that people are safe, that we are in agreement with.
The governor says the exact same thing. So where's the difference? Is it about who gets the tax money?
So really, this is really about making sure that we're all the stakeholders are at the table.
As stated by the tribe, according to Johnson, some $20 billion in investments have been allocated for Black Chicagoans. Johnson's team also says those investments include $426 million for disaster relief from the 2023 and 2024 floods.
Westsiders were particularly hard hit by flooding nearly a month ago. More than 8 inches of rain flooded basements, ruining people's belongings. Both the federal and Illinois emergency management agencies have been surveying the damage this week to find out what kind of relief neighbors need. Joining us now with more are G2 Brown, a resident in the city's Austin neighborhood and board president of the Kenwood-Oakland Community Organization, Alderwoman Emma Mitz of the 37th Ward on Chicago's West Side, and Stephen Robinson, executive director of Northwest Austin Council and also a resident of Austin. Thanks to the three of you for joining us. Stephen Robinson, let's start with you, please. We spoke with you sometime shortly after the flooding. Weeks later is where we are now. How would you describe the recovery?
Well, I would actually describe it as a slow-moving train at this point. I mean, there's so many things that still need to be done. We understand that FEMA has hit the ground, but I honestly believe that three branches of, or the three legislators branches of the state, meaning the county, the city, and the state, can still come with funds to support the people that need some remediation and some help.
Alderwoman Mitz, you have been out and about with IEMA and FEMA, state and federal emergency management associations. Walk us through what residents need to know about that process.
Well, right now the process is that today, as of today, they have the numbers that they need to present to the governor and to the president. They should have all that wrapped up as about Friday next week. And then we should be able to hear, and everybody would know, media outlets would know that the president gave the declaration. And then we'll go up with, start learning where the location to go to file the application. It would be from the time the president give his declaration. We have 60 days for individuals to be able to go to the location that we learn of at the time. So we got to wait until the president declared, and we'll learn of the location, and then we'll be able to further instruct the constituents as to where they need to go to apply.
And Alderwoman, what have you been hearing from neighbors in your ward?
I have to echo the sentiment of Steve that that process is being a little slow.
Right. So G2 Brown, you and others on your block, you actually did interact with with FEMA this week. What was that like?
Well, I think that people were, they felt, seen. While it definitely has moved slow, I think people were really eager to share with the IEMA and FEMA representatives the devastation that they incurred. So I know that Alderman Mitz, along with the IEMA and FEMA representatives, came on our block. Our block club is called 1,000 Strong. Our residents came out, and basically they would interview folks. They would ask them, is it a single family residence or a multi-family residence? Did anyone live in the basement? How much water did you get? Did you have electrical outlets that were damaged? What did you lose? And then they saw pictures. And I think it's important to note that there are still literally thousands of people who have mold in their basements.
This is still a topic which arises at the latest City Hall meetings, addressing citizens waiting to be made whole without acquiring loans. Let us hear your thoughts. Like and share this content with others.